Why is this taking so long? Unless he's waiting for something else to happen. So we're going to go to the other cities that are the potential landing spots for LeBron James. Cleveland, Philly, Miami, and then parenthetically Golden State, the 4 teams you hear about the most. But let's start in Philly. Morning host, WIP, Joe DeCamara is with us now on the River Islands guest line here on Willard and Dibbs, 95.7 The Game. Joe, thanks so much for doing this. How y'all doing out there?
We're good. I'm good, fellas. Great to be on with you. And like you are, we here in Philly are also wondering, is it just a game for LeBron and Rich Paul? Is it a big show? Or is this real talk that they're really deliberating? And it's a fascinating story. It really is, because LeBron could tip the balance of power in a couple different ways depending on where he goes. And while he's not nearly as good as he used to be, he's still pretty darn good, and he can make a big difference where he lands.
So, Joe, let's spotlight you guys and Philly for just a second, and let's start with that question that we're playing with. If he was picking Philly, why hadn't he already done it?
Well, there's a lot of reasons why. I mean, I think that the biggest reason from a Sixers standpoint relates to two things. Do the 76ers want Joel Embiid anymore? And does LeBron James prefer to play with or without Joel Embiid? So let's take the second question for a moment here. If you're LeBron and you got 1 or 2 years left and you want to, win ring 5 and maybe even 6 to tie Michael, is Joel, who can never, ever, ever, ever answer the bell in the postseason, the guy you want to saddle up with? Or would you rather see the 76ers trade him in order to try to get something else that would be better to seek ring 5? So I don't know the answer to that. But I know this. I can see a case for both sides. Joel is an incredible talent, but he is as unreliable as any star in a long time in sports. So I think one of two things is going on right now. I don't know which. I think it's either a game for LeBron and Rich Paul, and they know where he's headed, and they're just playing it out for the show of it all and the attention. Or, and I think this is probably more likely, I think they are trying to influence and or dictate to 4 or 5 different teams. Here's what I want you to do. Here's what I want you to do. Here's what I want you to do. And, in a couple days or a week or so, when the chips settle, he'll make his decision based on who acquiesces to what he prefers.
And I wonder what that move would be for Philly. So if they do, let's play hypotheticals that Joel Embiid would be the piece that would have to move. Does that put them in the mix for a possible Anthony Davis or someone else?
Could. Listen, I mean, there obviously is a real possibility LeBron would like to saddle up with Joel and just say, hey, let's roll the ball out with the main 5 guys. And that would be Joel and Jaylen Brown and VJ Edgecombe and Tyrese Maxey and LeBron James. And that group might be the favorite to win the title. But if his preference is not LeBron, sure, could be Anthony Davis. There's a lot of ways it could go. I mean, I'll give you another one from a Sixers standpoint that absolutely could be in play, whether LeBron is or is not a Sixer. I mean, I don't know how much you guys have talked about it. We've talked about it. A deal that makes a ton of sense both ways is that the Sixers want to get out from Joel Embiid to you guys for Jimmy Butler. Jimmy makes $56 million. Joel makes $57 million. So, now the rub is Joel has 3 years left on his deal, and Jimmy Butler has 1 year left on his deal. So, would the Warriors want an unbelievable all-world talent in Joel Embiid to have that be one of two things? With LeBron, let's absolutely go for it, or without LeBron, hey, we still got a heck of a shot because now we got Joel Embiid and Steph Curry, and let's try it that way. So, this is one of those things, but there's a huge risk there because with Joel having 3 years and $192 million left, you just know he's going to miss probably half the games and maybe be unavailable in the postseason. But these are all the different things going through a lot of different people's minds, and I would guess LeBron James is thinking through all of this.
Joe, I don't know if you know this, but missing half the games is preferred here in Golden State. This is what we search out. So everything is fine on that front. Interesting thought. Hey, what about this, Joe? Like, I'm looking at a LeBron James where every move he's made in his career has been both calculating and it's had some larger meaning to it. And so there is the Cleveland stuff. There is the playing with specific teammates in Miami and Pat Riley, and then there's the move the family to L.A. and build everything out west kind of a thing. When I'm looking at the teams that are rumored right now, Philadelphia just feels kind of random to me. And that's my hesitation into buying into this one. Do you really think that LeBron wants to finish his career in a cold weather city with a very edgy fan base where he has absolutely no history?
Well, I doubt he wants to finish his career in Philly, and I don't think he will, but I don't think that precludes the Sixers. See, I think one of the biggest tells that came out in this process that is not getting enough focus is when Rich Paul said to Max Kellerman a couple days ago that if the Knicks hadn't won the title, LeBron was going to sign with the Knicks. Now, what's the key to that? The key is if, and I'm using the word if he wants to finish his career with the Cleveland Cavaliers, that means LeBron's mind, as of a couple months ago before the Knicks made their run, was to play 2 more seasons. If his mind was to play 2 more seasons or more, that puts all of these teams on the table because it could be a 1-year deal, and then the following year he goes to Cleveland to wrap it up. And the other key with that is that the second son is going to play 1 year in college basketball and then potentially go to the pros. And if LeBron desires to play with son number 2, he could do that after the next season is over.
Interesting. And I mean, you could always take that whole thing to Miami and have a bunch of Antetokounmpos and have a bunch of Jameses as well and just fill out your roster with those people. But in Philly, what's the thought in Philly as far as, like, are they hoping that he comes there, or what's the emotions there for Philly fan?
So it's really mixed, guys. I first presented this late last week before the Sixers acquired Jaylen Brown, and I mean I was laughed at by all 3 co-hosts on my show and by most of the audience. And I get it. I mean, to the point you said a minute or two ago. The Sixers feel certainly at that time in particular is like, what the heck? Where's this coming from? But the Jaylen Brown trade and Rich Paul said this changed everything. I mean, it just flat out changed everything. It was a miracle trade. The Sixers obviously have a chance for real competition without LeBron, and with LeBron, it could be a put them over the top move. So to answer the question you asked about 2 minutes ago, LeBron's thinking could absolutely be, I go to the Sixers, I can win ring 5. Because here's the deal. He can. I mean, again, Maxey, Edgecombe, Jaylen Brown, LeBron James, Joel Embiid can win an NBA championship. Or swap out Joel for Anthony Davis, can win an NBA championship. There's no doubt about that. Can. Doesn't mean will, but can. Now, here to answer your other question, look, people are all over the place. I mean, they're all sorts of torn. I mean, people last week wanted no parts of LeBron. This week, they're more enamored because there's a thought of, hey, we're closer to the title. Let's go for it. Last week, we were having conversations whether the Sixers should trade Tyrese Maxey for 5 first-round picks and just rebuild the whole darn thing. So people are all over the place. Obviously, there's a lot of people around here, like there is across the entire nation, that get very, put off by the LeBron show and just all the nonsense that, and the Rich Paul and let's do a documentary and let's film everything and let's try to strong arm the GM and let's dictate everything. But what I've been telling, my listeners this week, because there's a lot of people saying don't get them, but I keep telling everyone listening, guys, this is the price of doing business. Most teams that have big time stars, it's not necessarily to that level of dictating things, but it's not easy. It's not comfortable, but it's what it is. I think what you guys have had in Golden State with Steph, I think what Pop had and fans in San Antonio had with Tim Duncan are the anomalies. More often than not, you're going to have a star who is just a pain in the butt. And if you want to win, you got to saddle up. normally that's the way it goes.
Joe DeCamara in Philly, WIP with us. Willard and Dibbs at 95.7 The Game. Hey, let's get a little something from you on the Jaylen Brown thing, too. What is your read on why Philly got him for that price and why 28 other GMs didn't do it?
I'll never really understand that, candidly, guys. I mean, obviously, we've tried to address that from every angle, and it just doesn't seem to make sense. I mean, all I can say is I suppose that one of two things or both happened. One is that it was a rushed trade, perhaps forced by the ownership group, or the other, quite simply, is that Brad Stevens, who's a really smart guy, could not, for whatever reason, convince other general managers to offer more. Why that is, I have no idea. I'm sure I've seen Jaylen Brown play at least 100 games in his life. I think he's a great basketball player. I think he's a real deal, legit, top 10 to 12 player right now in the middle of his prime in the NBA. But pretty clearly, others across the league don't agree with that. And some of the numbers are shocking when you see the success the Celtics had without him. I couldn't believe it when I saw them, but I saw the numbers. The analytics are not speaking well to Jaylen Brown, but I've seen the guy play. I think he's legit, and I cannot, for the life of me, really understand why other teams didn't offer more.
Joe, great stuff, man. Really, really good to have you on, and good luck, I guess. I don't know how to end the conversation other than that.
Well, I'll end it this way with you guys. Bad luck, because I hope LeBron comes to the 76ers.
Yeah.
But maybe we're having the same conversation in 12 months, because I get the feeling that this will actually not be LeBron James' last season upcoming. I feel like Rich Paul gave us a tell that in his mind he's got two more, and I think there's two things there. One, to play with the kid, and the other, because I think he's still trying to chase Jordan, or surpass, in his mind, Jordan in every way possible. I think he wants as many points, rebounds, and assists as possible. I think he wants to distance himself statistically as much as he can. And I still think in his heart, I still think he's trying to get ring number 6. And the only way to get that is to get ring number 5 first.
I do agree with you that I think 2 more years is a real possibility. Joe, great stuff. Thank you so much.